song goes out to a good friend of mine.
Hey everyone, it's Ivan with KitBadger.com, out here for another gear review, and today we're talking slings. This guy right here, which is the Hydura Sling by Viking Tactics. In the world of 2-point slings, you kind of have two different flavors. You basically have a captured tail, or you have something that actually has a tail. Or I guess technically you could have, like, I don't know, a parade sling. Definitely use those. Suboptimal. But really you end up with a captured tail or a loose tail of sorts. And so VTAC slings, Viking Tactics, have always had a not captured tail. And what I mean by that is this piece right here, it's kind of captured because the new ones have this Velcro piece. But if I undo this piece right here, it's not captured. And so as I cinch this down, my tail gets longer. Conversely, with a captured 2-point sling, think like, I don't know, like the Blue Force gear, those slings, those have a captured tail. So you'll move it back and forth and there is no tail that ends up hanging out. So, like I said, two different types. The Viking Tactics ones all have a tail, and this one has a pretty neat little piece on there with some Velcro. Show you how that works, which kind of gives it basically a hybrid of the two. Right here, since someone will probably ask, run through this build real quick. Right up front, this can right here is by Q. It is their Southpaw. I also have the Scalarworks Peak folding iron sights, Peak 02. Back here, I have this piece of rail from Knight's Armament for putting a bipod on there if I want. And then, this guy out of the way. Right here is the Tiger Claw by Die Free Company. This right here, it's actually pretty cool. This is a limited rotation QD from Sig, Aimpoint T2, Scalarworks Leap Mount, Magpul, Die Free Company, Dose Boot, and then also Die Free Company, that is their Kung Fu grip. And this whole thing is the 5.56 Honey Badger by Q. But the sling. So right here, looking at basically kind of the back end of it, this one, again, Hydura Sling, it is padded. You have a bunch of material here. You also have these tri-glides. So the way I have it set up, this has QDs on either side, and I'll usually run it basically from there, coming this padded section over, and then you have the rest of your sling. And so this right here is kind of a rubberized piece, which I like this. This, in my opinion, is definitely an improvement over some of the other pull tabs that have been used over the years. Again, same thing here with some tri-glides. You can basically adjust this to whatever you need as far as the length and put QDs on it, or if you want to run paracord, whatever you want to put on there. For my own part, this actually gets taken off and on, used on different guns. And so if I was going to specifically just use on this gun, I would probably actually cut and actually shorten this webbing a little bit. I'll show you more on that in a minute. But coming back here, we have this buckle, which when you pull this way, you can see there's these pretty aggressive teeth. They grab onto that webbing there. And so when you pull this out away from your body, it allows the webbing to move. And then conversely, when you grab this and pull it, it cinches the sling tighter. And because of that cam buckle, it won't come undone. And as I mentioned a minute ago, this has this pretty cool little deal where it'll wrap around here and then Velcro back onto itself. And so even though this sling technically has a tail, it's basically captured. And I'll show you how that actually works out in real time. Also, as a quick aside, I will say slings and actually using slings is almost kind of a lost art at this point. Most people just don't really use slings anymore. And I think largely it has to do with, sorry, we're off on a tangent now. I think largely it has to do with the introduction of like urban rifle from Clint Smith back in the day. The idea of using a rifle, a carbine, at pistol distances. Now, consequently, very rarely will you ever go to a carbine class where you're going to shoot beyond like 50 yards. Probably not even beyond 25 yards. Usually it's all in close. As a consequence, people don't use slings very much. So yeah, there's that. But where I was going with it is right here. Pull this away from the body, and well, I guess I took up all my slack. Oh no, I got more. Can take that up, and then we grab this and we pull it. And again, it's still captured. I can undo that if I want. Usually I won't. I will, if I need to cinch this tight, like for example, I want this tight up against my body, I'll just reach back, grab up close to the buckle, and cinch it all the way down. And so, yeah, you can get these really, really tight. Conversely, compared to a captured 2-point sling, you're actually really limited in that scope. And so, how does that play out? Well, the biggest thing for me is a captured 2-point sling, whether it's Blue Force Gear, Spiritus, or I guess I'm blanking on the name. I'll remember it at some point. Regardless of any of these captured 2-point slings, it's like an 80% solution in that, hey, I'm really just going to have the thing slung so that I free my hands up so I can jam mags because I'm going to the range or doing something. And so if you start using a sling and actually building shooting positions or other things such as, hey, I actually need this gun like not in my hands and I'm about to do something with my hands, like go do some medicine or go climb something, or for that matter, like dead sprint, these slings with a tail like this Viking Tactics will actually get really tight to where, yeah, go hands-on, sprint, climb ladders, whatever you need to do, and your gun actually stays put. And can you not do that with a captured 2-point sling? You can, but if you do that, then everything else you do is super tight, because you can't, if you have it tight enough to cinch all the way to your body, it's probably not enough space to be able to bring it out to where you can shoulder switch, you can do anything else, you can do all your manipulations and not get hung up on your sling. Again, it's an 80% solution, which is fine if you need 80% solution, but if you want something that will do all the things, I finally came to realize this is the way. And in fairness, credit where credit's due, I didn't come to this just an epiphany. Actually, the person that brought this to my attention was my buddy Bill Rapier, who for years has run a unpadded Viking Tactics sling. And the one he uses is actually the multicam. Why the multicam one? Because he likes multicam. No, actually because the webbing on the multicam is actually even lighter than the other colors. And so it's basically the lightest with a tail VTAC sling. But I've been using this one because I'll be honest, I do like padding, which brings me to what has been my experience and how have I used this. I've actually shot this Hydura Sling on a number of different host guns. As I mentioned, that's why I set up with QDs. Makes it pretty easy to move back and forth. And with that, I think I probably shot it at a competition or two. And of course, range sessions, things along those lines. And then most recently, I actually spent 3 days with this thing and I was shooting on a different gun. It was actually on a Bravo company gun, and I shot the 3-day urban precision rifle class at Thunder Ranch. Amazing class, tons of fun, got to do all kinds of shooting. And with that, urban precision rifle, emphasis on the precision aspect of it, and so lower probability shots where you need a better shooting position. And so what can aid you in a good shooting position? Well, come to find out, a sling, if you know how to use it. And these definitely lend themselves to making a really good, solid, stable shooting position. And so yeah, put in a lot of time with it there. Is this sling for everybody? Honestly, I don't know. As I mentioned, I was really resistant to it until my buddy Bill was like, Can you actually cinch that thing down and go sprint with it? Referencing whatever type of captured 2-point sling I had. And the answer was no. Or for that matter, can you cinch this down and do medical on someone without like your gun moving all around, like smashing into the deck? And the answer again is no. Or for that matter, just being able to undo part of this, wrap it around, get a really solid position. Like this, come to find out, is the 100% solution. And part of it was like, hey, I don't want to have to move this or use that to loosen and then use something else to tighten. Is it that big of a deal? No, come to find out, it's not. I was just super resistant to it. And with that said, you have this buckle here, which allows you to loosen. You have this pull tab, which, like I mentioned, this rubberized one I actually really like. Cinch it down, and if you need more, I usually just grab higher up, depending on what I'm gonna need, and keep cinching until I basically have this thing to where like can't breathe, especially if I had kit on right now. And it does all the things I ask it to do, which is great. Again, there's just that, resistance for whatever reason. But if this is something you're interested in, I would encourage you to check them out. There are a lot of different flavors. As I mentioned, this is the Hydura one, pretty nice padding. I get it, this is a 4.5 pound gun, slick, super lightweight, which is great, but sometimes I put it on heavier guns, so it's definitely nice to have it on a heavier gun, that little bit of padding. But if it's something you're interested in, there will be links down below and you can go check it out. And as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.